You say you want success, but the question is, do you want it the way a dying man wants air? Do you want it with a hunger that burns deeper than comfort, deeper than pleasure, deeper than ease? Because if you don't, then hear me, you don't want it at all. You want the idea of success. You want the illusion, not the discipline. You want the crown without the cross. You want the reward without the war. We live in a time where men chase shortcuts like fools chasing wind. They think a quick fix will save them. They think a new app, a new mentor, a New Year's resolution, or a new book will somehow change what only discipline can. Let me tell you the truth. Success is not found in the spectacular. It is not born out of occasional bursts of effort or emotion. It is forged in silence, in the early hours of the day, in the repetition of what the world calls small. You think success is about genius. You think it's about charisma, about connections. No, let me crush that lie. Success is not a miracle. It's not magic. It's not gifted to a few chosen individuals and withheld from the rest. It is accessible. But it is only accessible to those who have the courage to embrace monotony, to walk through the valley of the same, day after day, without applause, without recognition, without excitement. And you will not do it unless something deeper than ambition lives in you. Something eternal. That's the daily habit I want to speak to you about, and you may be disappointed when you hear what it is, because it's not flashy, it's not impressive, it won't make for a good Instagram story. It's so simple, it offends the modern mind, but it is the bedrock of transformation, and here it is. Intentional, focused time every day in solitude to reflect, to plan, and to commit your heart to what matters most. You were made for discipline. You were made for order. You were not created to live at the mercy of your emotions or to drift on the tides of distraction. The man who does not command his own soul each day is not free. He is a slave to noise, a slave to appetite, a slave to the expectations of others. So I ask you, when do you wake up? And when you wake up, what is the first thing you give your mind to? Is it the scroll, the notifications, the dopamine hit? Or is it silence? Is it strategy? Is it surrender? You must begin each day with ruthless intention. Not just waking up early, but waking up with clarity, waking up with a holy violence in your spirit that says, I will not live on autopilot today. I will not be a creature of reaction. I will act. I will move. I will lead. And that starts not with noise, but with quiet. Don't tell me about your dreams if your mornings are chaotic. Don't tell me how bad you want success if you won't master your first hour, because the first hour is sacred. The first hour is where men are made or broken. It's where the battle is fought and either lost or won. That simple habit, daily reflection, daily planning, daily commitment, it doesn't look like much to the natural eye. But do you know what it is? It is a declaration of war. It is the soul standing at attention before the day begins and saying, I refuse to be ruled by impulse. I will be governed by principle. Some of you wonder why you're always behind, why you're always stressed, why you keep losing. I'll tell you, it's because you live reactively. You wait until the fire starts, and then you scramble to put it out. You wait until you're drowning, and then you learn to swim. That is not how a man lives. That is not how a woman of conviction lives. No, a true person of power anticipates. They prepare. They rise early. They govern themselves before anyone else governs them. You don't drift into excellence. You don't stumble into greatness. You cultivate it. You fight for it. You suffer for it. And you do it in secret. You do it when no one is watching. The daily habit is not for others to see. It's not to gain the approval of man. It's so that you can walk into the day as one who has already conquered. You walk into the noise having already been with silence. You walk into the storm having already been anchored. Let me ask you this. What if your future depended not on some massive opportunity, but on whether you can do the same small thing every morning without quitting? What if that was it? Could you do it? Could you keep showing up even when you feel nothing, even when the fruit is not immediate, because that is the price, that is the cost, faithfulness in the little, obedience in the unseen. And I say this with trembling, the man who cannot command his first moments of the day will be commanded by something else, by culture, by pressure, by emotion, and that man will never fulfill what he was meant to, not because he didn't have the potential, but because he didn't make room for that potential to mature, because maturity doesn't come from age. It comes from intentionality, from discipline, from order. If you look at the great men and women of history, those who shaped empires, who wrote truths that outlived them, who stood unshaken in storms, you will find one common thread. Before they faced the world, they first faced themselves. They sat in the quiet and examined their hearts. They rehearsed their vision. They wrestled with their fears, and they made the decision, again and again, to show up, to stay faithful, to fight. You say you're tired. I understand. You say life is chaotic. I understand. You say the weight is heavy. I understand. But still I say to you, show up. Sit in the quiet. Write the vision. Review your goals. Examine your habits. And make a declaration that this day will not own you. You will own it. You must take responsibility for your future. No one else will. No one else can. And if you cannot give yourself to this one simple daily habit, what makes you think you will be able to stand when the real storms come? If you cannot lead yourself through 15 minutes of quiet reflection and direction, how will you lead others through crisis? If you cannot discipline your mornings, how will you discipline your business, your family, your calling? You don't need more inspiration. You don't need another conference. You don't need more hype. You need self-control. You need to submit to the daily process of self-leadership, because success is not a place. It is not a number. It is not applause. Success is becoming the kind of person who can steward those things when they come, and that kind of person is forged in the furnace of repetition, quiet repetition. Some of you are always looking for a new strategy, a new productivity system, a new secret, and here I am, telling you the truth that you already know but have refused to honor. Order your days. Discipline your thoughts. Conquer your mornings. That is the seed of success. That is the habit. And if you think it sounds too simple, you're not paying attention, because the secret of success is not complexity. It is consistency. It is not brilliance. It is perseverance. The man who wins is not the one with the most talent, but the one who is most committed to doing the work no one sees every single day. You want to change your life. Start there, not tomorrow, not next week. Start now, rise early, sit in the quiet, review your values, plan your day, and above all, remind yourself of who you are and who you're becoming, because the world will try to define you. It will try to name you, it will try to mold you, but you must walk out of your house every day with a fire in your chest that says, I have already been with the truth. I know who I am. I know what I am building. There are no shortcuts. There are no substitutes, just this, faithful, focused, disciplined mornings, over and over again, until your very character is changed, until your decisions are no longer random, but refined, until your life becomes a testimony to the power of daily, unseen obedience. And maybe you say, but I've tried before. Then try again. You say, but I failed. Then rise. You say, but I don't feel it. You don't need to feel it. You need to do it. you need to plant that seed. Water it and wait, because in due season the harvest will come, not to the loud, not to the flashy, but to the faithful. So I will say it again, and I will not apologize for its simplicity. Success starts with this each day. Rise early. Sit in the silence, face yourself, set your course, and walk out the door as one who has already conquered. Not because you're perfect, not because you're fearless, but because you refuse to drift. You refuse to quit. You refuse to be ruled by chaos, and if you will do this not once, not twice, but every day, then the man or woman you are becoming will no longer be a dream. It will be a reality, and the world will not understand how that is a truth that most people do not want to hear. They would rather believe in luck, in fate, or in some spark of genius that separates them from greatness. They would rather put their hope in the miraculous moment than in the mundane discipline. They would rather believe that someday, somehow, something outside of them will come and change everything. But life doesn't work like that. Destiny doesn't bow to the lazy. Greatness doesn't chase the distracted. And potential doesn't mean anything unless it is applied. You can be the most talented person in the room and still be a failure. You can have every natural gift, every opportunity, every ounce of charisma, and still end up empty. Because success is not about what you have, it's about what you do. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you choose, and the choices that shape a life are not made once, in some dramatic moment. They are made day after day in the repetition of the ordinary. Let me say that again, because you must understand it with all your heart. The difference between a successful life and a wasted one is found in the daily, invisible, quiet choices you make when no one is watching. Not once, not twice, but every day, day after day, when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's unrewarded, when it feels like nothing is changing. That's where the battle is won. We are a generation that idolizes instant results. We are addicted to the highlight reel. We watch others' success stories and imagine they were created in a moment. A viral post, a big break, a lucky connection, but what you don't see, what you refuse to see, is the decade of early mornings. The years of obscurity, the nights of struggle, the thousands of repetitions, the silence, the sacrifice, the habit. And I am telling you with fire in my bones, if you want anything lasting, anything real, anything that will not collapse under the pressure of life, you must abandon your obsession with the spectacular. You must fall in love with the process, with the grind, with the ordinary rhythms of discipline, because in the end it is not the talented who succeed, but the faithful. It is not the emotional who persevere, but the consistent. It is not the gifted who change the world, but the disciplined. Emotion can't carry you. It can't sustain you. It will lift you up one day and drop you the next. You cannot live your life based on how you feel. If your work ethic rises and falls with your feelings, you will remain unstable. Your destiny is too valuable to be left in the hands of your emotions. Your calling is too sacred to be tossed back and forth by your mood. You must anchor your life in habits that remain strong even when your motivation disappears. And believe me, it will disappear. You will not always feel like showing up. You will not always feel like doing the hard thing. You will not always feel like pushing forward. And in those moments, you will find out who you really are. You will find out whether you were led by your passions or by your principles, whether you were chasing feelings or building a future. And let's speak plainly here. Most people fail not because they weren't capable, but because they couldn't keep showing up when the feeling left. They had the potential, they had the opportunity, but they didn't have the daily discipline to press through the silence, to keep doing the right thing when no one was clapping, to keep planting seeds when there was no harvest. And that's the tragedy, not the absence of talent, but the absence of consistency. You say you want to write the book, start the business, build the body, lead the family, change your future. But do you have the habits that align with that desire, or are you still waiting for motivation to strike? Because, let me tell you this, the people who get things done are not the ones who are always inspired. They are the ones who build systems that carry them when the inspiration dies. Habits are greater than hype. Systems are greater than spurts of motivation. Faithfulness is greater than feeling. That is where strength is built. That is where identity is formed. That is where legacy is shaped. Not in the one-time performance, but in the hidden life you live each day. And let me warn you, it's not exciting, it's not glamorous. No one applauds your daily discipline. No one claps when you rise before the sun. No one cheers when you do what's right over what's easy, but that is where real success is born. In obscurity, in silence, in faithfulness to what is right, not to what is convenient. You cannot cheat the process. You cannot skip the steps. There is no shortcut that can bypass the need for repetition. And if you are always searching for the easy way, the fast way, the painless way, you will never be formed into the person you were meant to be. There is a kind of strength, a kind of character, a kind of integrity that can only be built through time and through trial. Through the habit of waking up and doing what matters, even when it hurts, even when you're tired, even when no one notices. That's how foundations are laid, and foundations matter more than anything else. Because you can build a beautiful life, a beautiful business, a beautiful reputation. But if your foundation is weak, it will all crumble in time. You don't rise higher than your habits. You don't go farther than your daily routine allows. And yes, others may pass you by for a moment. They may rise quicker. They may seem more successful in the short term. But you will see, in time, the one with habits will outlast them all. Because talent can open the door, but only discipline keeps you in the room. Emotion can get you started, but only consistency carries you through the storm. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't just act when they feel like it, but who acts because it's who they are. Habits don't just change what you do. They change who you become. Every time you wake up and do the hard thing, you are proving to yourself that you are capable, you are trustworthy, you are responsible. You are not a victim. You are not ruled by weakness. You are ruled by vision. You are building something deeper than success. You are building character, and character will carry you when applause fades, when doors close, when storms come. Habits forge character, and character is the true measure of success. Not what you achieve, but who you become through the journey. That's what matters. That's what lasts. So don't despise the small beginnings. Don't overlook the simple disciplines. Don't underestimate the power of one habit, faithfully lived out every day, because over time it compounds, it multiplies, it grows into something unstoppable. Read 1 page a day and you will finish books. Write for 30 minutes a day and you will write a manuscript. Exercise consistently and your body will be transformed. Speak truth every day, and your relationships will be strengthened. Choose order over chaos every morning, and your entire life will begin to shift. Slowly at first, quietly, but surely. The world may never understand. They may mock your routines. They may call it boring, rigid, obsessive. Let them laugh, let them mock, because when the storm comes, they will fall. But you will stand, you will endure, because you didn't build your life on shifting sand, but on solid rock, the rock of discipline, the rock of obedience, the rock of faithfulness, and you must believe this with your whole heart. Success that comes without discipline is a curse. It is a trap. It will destroy you, because you will be handed more than you can handle. You will be elevated beyond what your character can support, and in time it will collapse. But when your success is built on habits, when it is earned through faithfulness, when it is the fruit of consistency, you will be ready. You will not be shaken, you will be strong, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, and that strength was forged in your daily routine, in the decisions you made when no one was watching. So I urge you, start today, not with a grand gesture, not with a burst of emotion, but with one habit, one small, simple, daily act that aligns with your purpose, and do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until it becomes who you are, until it becomes the rhythm of your life, because that is success, not the moment of arrival, but the long, faithful walk, not the peak, but the path, not the flash, but the flame that never goes out. And that flame is lit every morning you rise and choose what is right over what is easy. Every day you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you build your life not on hype, but on habit. Daily, intentional reflection, planning, and self-leadership, especially in the first moments of the day, are non-negotiable foundations for transformation. You cannot expect to build a strong life, to develop true character, or to fulfill a meaningful purpose without confronting the first few moments of your day with purpose. The person who refuses to master the beginning of their day is a person who will be mastered by the day itself. And most do not even realize this. They wake up and drift. They let the world rush in before they have even looked within. They react before they have chosen how to respond. And then they wonder why life feels like it's always slipping out of their hands. There is a war going on for your attention, and the battle begins the moment your eyes open. Everything in this world is fighting for your first thought, your first emotion, your first focus. The notifications are screaming. The anxieties are whispering, the obligations are waiting, and if you do not take control of that moment, you have already lost control of the day. You must be intentional, not casual, not passive, not impulsive. You must step into your mornings like a soldier steps onto the battlefield. Clear, focused, prepared, and let me be honest with you, this is not easy, it's not natural. The natural thing is to reach for distraction. The natural thing is to scroll, to react, to allow your mind to be shaped by whatever screams the loudest. But the path of transformation is not found in what is natural. It's found in what is necessary. And if you want to be changed, deeply, truly changed, then you must build your life upon this, that the first part of the day belongs not to the world, but to the work of your soul. Reflection is not a luxury. It is a necessity. You must look within. You must examine yourself. You must ask the hard questions before life asks them for you. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Who am I becoming? What matters most today? What am I carrying into this day that needs to be confronted or released? You cannot afford to live mindlessly. You cannot afford to go through your life without understanding your own heart, your own patterns, your own motives. Because the most dangerous lies are the ones you tell yourself, and the only way to confront them is to stop and reflect. Reflection is how you fight deception. It is how you resist distraction. It is how you clear the noise and hear the truth. But it doesn't happen on accident. You must make space for it. You must carve out the time. You must guard that time like it is sacred, because it is. But reflection alone is not enough. You must plan. You must put your hands to work and align your actions with your values. Too many people know what they should be doing, but never put it into motion. They talk about priorities, but their schedules say otherwise. They talk about dreams, but their habits betray them. Planning is where vision becomes strategy. It's where the abstract becomes concrete. It's where the ideal becomes the actual. Planning is not about perfection. It's not about controlling every detail. It's about direction. It's about intention. It's about waking up and saying, I will not wander through this day. I will not live by default. I will live by design. If you do not plan your day, someone else will. If you do not set your course, you will be pulled into someone else's current. And you may be busy, but you will not be effective. You may be active, but you will not be fulfilled, because you were never meant to be busy. You were meant to be purposeful. And that purpose begins with the discipline of planning. It's the discipline of deciding, before the pressure comes, what your values are, what your priorities are, what you will give your time, energy, and focus to, so that when the demands of life knock at your door, you can say no with strength and yes with clarity. Because if you try to make decisions in the heat of the moment, you will always choose what is urgent over what is important. You will always serve the loudest voice instead of the truest one. Planning is how you protect your purpose. It is how you build a life of alignment instead of chaos. It is how you move forward with clarity instead of confusion. But again, it doesn't happen by accident. You must rise early. You must sit in the quiet. You must write it down. You must put pen to paper and declare what this day is for and who you are choosing to become. And this is where self-leadership comes in, because no one else can do this work for you. No mentor, no boss, no friend, no spouse. You must lead yourself. You must govern your own soul. You must rise before the noise and say, "This is who I am. This is what I am called to do. This is how I will walk today." You must lead yourself before you can lead anyone else. And leading yourself doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest. It means being humble. It means holding yourself to the standard of the person you were created to be, not the person you feel like being, because feelings will fail you. They will lie to you. They will distract you, but principles will anchor you. Convictions will steady you. And leadership is about anchoring your life in conviction, not in convenience. So many people are waiting for someone to lead them. Someone to tell them what to do, someone to give them the path, but that is not how transformation works. You don't become who you were meant to be by accident. You become that person by choice, by resolve, by daily commitment to the disciplines that shape the soul, and that commitment must begin at the start of every day. Your morning is your sacred space. It is the soil in which the rest of your day will grow. If you neglect it, the weeds will come. If you rush it, the roots will be shallow. If you ignore it, the fruit will be bitter. But if you honor it, if you invest in it with focus and discipline, it will produce a harvest far greater than you can imagine. So ask yourself, what is the first thing you do when you wake up? What is the first voice you hear? What is the first thought you entertain? Are you guiding those moments, or are you being guided by them? Are you choosing your first steps, or are you stumbling into them? Because how you begin shapes how you live, not just for one day, but for a lifetime. And the truth is this: people don't fall apart all at once. They fall apart a little bit each morning, each time they trade intention for convenience, each time they trade truth for noise, each time they trade leadership for indulgence, each time they say, "I'll do it later," or "It doesn't matter," but it does matter. It matters more than you know. Transformation is not a one-time event. It is a daily decision. It is a daily battle. And the first hour of your day is where that battle is fought. If you win there, you will carry strength into every other hour. If you lose there, you will spend the rest of the day trying to recover what you gave away.